Hello everyone, and welcome to the AgriDry series Grain Quality Control Topic of the Week. My name is Clint Walker, and today's topic is the recommendations and effects of freezing grain. When steel grain bin storage became available in the early 1900s, the bins were only 12 feet in diameter and stored only small amounts of grain. To help maintain quality during the winter months, many grain handlers froze the grain throughout the bin, which, to be honest, was a secure method to increase shelf life of the grain. Just like in a freezer in your home, it was able to hold the valuable product for a longer period of time until the bin became empty. And still, to this day, this method is favorable for dry grain if there's no way to monitor the grain inside the bin. However, this theory has changed for many grain handlers to maximize their profits. Freezing grain is costly and dangerous. Excessive fan run time to achieve the frozen grain temperatures increases electrical cost. The risk of having frozen grain columns throughout the bin can cause unloading issues as well. When the outside temperature begins to warm in the spring or summer, the temperature differential between the grain temperature and the outside temperature can cause condensation issues on the sidewall or the top of the bin, which leads to spoiled or crusted grain. As grain bins get larger with increased bushels, grain handlers are storing the grain for a longer period of time. The need for monitoring this equipment is a must. AgriDry reads Type T thermocouple cables in our Bullseye controller. Always knowing what the grain temperature is throughout the bin helps maintain quality and ensures the temperature front has moved through the entire bin. We typically read 6 sensors per temperature cable, with sensors evenly spaced from the bottom of the bin to the top. Sensor spacing and cable lengths are sized appropriately for each bin. We have the ability to read up to 4 temperature cables into the controller for a total of 24 sensors. The grain temperature is displayed on the controller consisting of 6 sensors per page, which you can select with an X for sensors that are only in the grain. You set up a target temperature window and the controller will gradually lower or raise the grain temperature to the target window and will maintain that temperature until the settings are changed. AgriDry also controls the fans on the grain bin, in which we can assure that the fans do not operate during the freezing conditions. The minimum air temperature setting on the controller is typically set at 35 degrees for aeration and natural air drying and prevents fans from operating below this temperature. When natural air drying grain, the grain temperature should never go below freezing. The moisture inside the grain cannot escape if it is frozen inside the kernel. With the grain temperature always above freezing, natural air drying can be completed immediately as soon as the outside temperature are consistently above freezing. If the grain moisture is high and the number of drying days are limited, the minimum air temperature setting can be set down to 30 to 32 degrees to capture more fan run time. This can only be done if the outside air temperature goes below freezing for short periods of time. If you notice on the chart for the corn, it gives us estimated storage days for certain moistures and different temperatures. As you can see, dropping the grain temperature or moisture greatly increases the storage life of the grain. The allowable times are cumulative, meaning if half of the storage life is used up while at certain moisture and temperature, when the grain drops in moisture or temperature, only half of the storage life of that number is available. In conclusion, the equipment that AgriDry offers increases your profits by monitoring your investment and operating the fans when it's beneficial for the grain. Thank you for joining AgriDry's Grain Quality Control Topic of the Week, and feel free to contact AgriDry for more information. Please join for next week's topic, low temperature grain drying. And remember, here at AgriDry, grain quality is not an option.